मैं Maaz actually get like a nice side of.
क्या हो गया ये वाला क्यों ले रहे हो अगला वाला
मैं हाफ कर रहा था
ये करो मैं just talking this cake is lovely I love this cake
कहाँ का है ये
why can't you order this every week
अभी तक तो टेक्निकली एवरी वीक ही कर रहा है
चल let's start with
Assalamu alaikum everybody, welcome to the C1 episode of League Report where we give you the ins and outs of the league. I have with me Arhum Latif, new star forward of Omega.
new chairman, standing in chairman
anything
of
Arhum
League
wants.
of Basketball.
Anything Arhum wants.
I'm the captain now.
Look at me.
Sure.
And we're going to be discussing C1 games this week, week 3. First game we're going to discuss is Mavericks versus Sabres. The Thundercats are on the move, as Shahzain said.
Yeah. Can we talk about how their season has gone before we go into this game? They gave you guys a tough time, a really tough time.
Yeah.
They beat Maaz, which is a perennial final, semi-finalist team every year, and then they essentially took care of business against Maaz, right?
Yeah. And they're looking really good. Going forward, I would be afraid to face them. आपका ही मैच है अगला मैच आप लोग?
No, I think we play Maaz next.
Yeah, sorry, next week. So they're slowly getting better.
Yeah.
And they have, it's not just one guy doing it, just a lot of teams have one guy doing it mostly, or two guys. So they have a whole bunch of guys. Ares can step up kabhi bhi. It's Hassan Bhai can step up kabhi bhi. Haider kar jata hai. Haider's also leading the steals. So Mavs usually known for their rough gameplay. Gave them a bit of a tough time, but Sabres took the lead kafi early. But the Mavs kept coming back.
Shout out to Mubarak for hitting like 3 threes in the fourth quarter. Like
they brought it back. Sabres thought it was over, but Mubarak had other ideas. He brought it back akele. But yeah, I'll say this about the Mavs: they are not going away quietly. Even with us, they were fighting till the end. And their big guy Nabil, I like his game. I think he can definitely improve and become one of the bigs. The next generation of bigs, मैं कहता हूँ after Mohsin and Umar and these guys, Nomi भी खैर big तो नहीं है, लेकिन मतलब all these guys when they retire after these guys, जो second line है bigs की, वो ये है Nabil है, Mikhail लोग जो सारे हैं. So these guys are young, they can take that spot, and I'd like them to step up their game. But क्या कह सकते हैं इसके बाद से Arez just went off this game?
Yeah, I think Arez went off. There's I think nine individual scorers for the game, so that just shows you that they were moving the ball around. They're feeling good, coming off a big win, big C1 win. That was their first time in C1, C1 win against Maaz. So they were really excited. They were really bullish, especially beating the 3-time in a row, not beating, sorry, but like coming close in the fourth quarter, keeping that game tight.
Yeah.
So that gave them a lot of confidence. I spoke to Arez after that game. They felt good. They still felt like their pieces hadn't gelled yet, with like Nihal coming in, Shahib Bhai coming in, Shahib Bhai, Arez. Like they've got 4 or 5 new guys on the team, and they've been able to keep it competitive while gelling these guys in. And they had the game put away in the third quarter. I think they emptied their bench a little early, and Maaz made them pay. Could have made them pay dearly if a couple more threes went in the last few minutes.
So that just goes to show, it's not over until it's over.
No, it's not over. And 10-15 point lead can be erased within 3 minutes. We've seen it, especially if Mubarak goes off like that.
And we have the talent in the league. कोई भी
absolutely
हर team का एक बंदा.
And again, I know people see score lines and see maybe Mavs 0-3, Hustlers 0-3. Like these teams are very, very good teams. They're just very, very young. We play multiple seasons in 1.5 years, so they don't get that time to improve. Give these guys a couple of years, actual years, to improve. And we keep talking about how deep Hustlers is, how much young talent they have, how much young talent Mavs have, and their star point guard's been injured with ACL tear. So there's a lot of talent coming in. Like I know a lot of people speak about it getting boring at the top, but as people who have to play these guys week in, week out, I see the growth.
I do.
I remember when I started playing 5 seasons ago, or at Arambagh, I could just walk in, take a couple of stretches, and come in, put up 25-30, go home with a W.
अभी भी यही यार
नहीं भाई, अभी बिल्कुल भी ऐसा नहीं है. मैं मुश्किल से 10-12 पॉइंट कर रहा हूँ गेम में.
I think you're still averaging 15-18. Standard stat line as well.
But honestly, like it's you have to plan, you have to have a strategy. If you just think यार 5 बंदे खड़े कर दिए, or rom through. You're not. You're really not. Like even Maaz, aapko tough time deti hai. Last year bhi when we played them, we had ZQ, me, Umar, and the game was like I think a 4-6 point game in the third quarter before we eventually used our experience to pull.
हमारे साथ भी they were tied half तक they were 1 point down. फिर उसके बाद हमें like actually dig in करना पड़ता है बहुत ज़्यादा. और उस तरह नहीं रहा. You're right. Season 3 या 4 था. I remember कि हम 100 point मार रहे थे लोगों पे. अब वो नहीं रहा. 50 point games और शुगल पुगल चल रहा है. अब you have to actually plan for these.
Well, look at this game. Look at this season. How many times has 100 been broken this season?
I don't think.
Not once.
Not once, yeah.
Right. Last season, 110, 112.
जा रहे थे, you're right.
But like people are playing defense. People are making you earn. Say yeah, offense will come in time, but defense, as I've spoken about, defensive rebounding is effort. All it is effort and a little bit of skill.
Yes, yeah.
And everyone's putting that time in to get really, really good at defense. And you're seeing that scores are coming down. 70, 75 is the winning score. 130 over under चल रहा है. Sports books पे आजकल.
I see it. So that's the first game. The next game is Omega versus Mambas. थोड़ा सा आप पर हम बताइए मैं क्या.
Honestly, the season's been really fun to watch. We can all agree that Omega is really short-handed, losing Zia, Ans Azhar, Shahzain Malik. अब मुझे लग रहा है कि अंस ने इन सबको जानबूझ के खुद भेजा है. इनके visa letters पे इसके recommendations गए because he's finally been able to shoot 15, 20, 25 times a game, get his buckets, and it's something I tell Ans all the time. You're a very good scorer. You need to stop deferring and you need to take some onus on the scoring side, and now he doesn't really have a choice, and he's been putting up great numbers. He's in MVP contention. He's been playing great basketball, keeping it simple, getting the ball on the low block, scoring a bunch of points. TZ cooked today. Not today, sorry, against Mambas at 6 threes, another 22 points. And it's great to see. That's veteran, that's championship integrity, right? Like being so short-handed, having maybe 7 guys play a game, and playing against the Mambas team that was, desperate for a win after a big loss against Sabres, and being able to tame them and, take that win by 15 points was, I think, a great display of individual performance on Ans's part and team performance on Omega's part.
So the Mambas came out clawing. They fought really hard. I think we were down or around down going into the half, and in the half break Usman just said कि we need you to score up, कुछ करना है. तो उसके बाद thankfully a few shots went in, जिसकी वजह से थोड़ी nerves calmed down and we could rally back. I think the Mambas मुझे बाहर से भी लोगों ने बोला, I couldn't tell in the game. I don't know कि people said they started giving up. I do not think that was the case. As I was in the game I was playing, तब तो नहीं लग रहा था ऐसा. But I believe they still have a bit of gelling problem with Raja Bhai, because Raja Bhai has not played the whole season ever for them. He just comes in the playoffs, but this time he has a month off, so he's just playing games. He wants to win this time. But I think unki rotation thodi si struggle kari. So Amar didn't get a lot of minutes, even though Amar is in great shape. He's been playing great defense. Zen didn't get a lot of minutes in the fourth. I think he was sat out last game also, this game also. And ये सारे issues जो उनके चल रहे हैं ना, even though Saad is having a good season.
Saad's having a great season. I think
he had 21 points this game.
Yeah, 21, and I think they're leaning a little too hard on Saad, right?
I agree.
They're trying to just make sure in half-court offense that Saad carries them.
Yeah.
And they don't need to, because Zen's a playmaker, Raja's a playmaker. We know Nomi gets buckets.
Nomi, they didn't use Nomi a lot. I think Nomi has that old habit of getting into foul trouble. He was in foul trouble again this game. उसकी वजह से they couldn't really use him, but like Zen can score easily when he wants as well. So Zen had 2 threes. उसके बाद he stopped attempting threes. So मतलब I think they still figured some things out. And it's good to see that they're still positive. They're not fighting on the court जिस तरह पहले इनका था.
Absolutely.
So going forward, I hope कि they अभी इनका actually they all have only have the tough teams left now. So they're bounced to 3SB, and who else do they have left?
I think they still have a couple, because they've only played Sabres.
Chalo, but it's going to be still tough for them. They have to. They're down काफी hard. So from a top 4 team, they're dropping. So they have to maintain their status. I don't know how they're going to do it, but let's see. They're tough.
They're 1 and 2. I think they can figure it out. I think 4 games isn't easy. It's such a swing. Then we talk about how they're again championship pedigree. I think they should just lean into what their skill sets and size is. Like they're a small team, play small, right? Put another guard back there. Bhakti's a great rebounder. Nomi's a fighter. And if that's what your team composition is, then you might have to play 3 or 4 guards together with 1 center, and then play fast basketball, right? If you don't have 3 bigs who can man the paint, piche, then lean into it. Get Amar's a great defender. I tell you this time and time. Amar might be the best defender in lob. He might win steals title or not win steals title, but
his impact is there. Also.
When he's in front of you, you don't want to dribble past him.
Yeah.
You know he's going to pickpocket you and make you look like a fool.
Yeah.
And I think they need to figure that out quickly. I think they need to have a couple of practices. Calm down. It's a long season. 3 wins gets you in the playoffs. Whether that's a 4 seed or not, that's a different story.
Yeah.
But at this point, they need to dig in, make sure they're ready for the playoffs. Taha's coming back. For the playoffs,
Taha's coming back. So that'll hopefully steal their ship thoda sa. We'll have to see कि वो कितना playoff में खेलता है. I don't know if he's coming back. बिल्कुल start में end में, but we'll see.
He keeps complaining about how much weight he's gained.
And how old he is. At 24 years old. God, 24 years old.
I wish I was 24. Taha.
Oh my God. Chalo. And the next game is Hustlers versus Beria Ballers. Hustlers having not a great season. Obviously, we knew that going in. Beria had a really great game. They're starting to find their groove now. They had multiple 20-point games. 20-point scorers थे. इनकी team on had 26, Nakash had 20, Mohsin had 17. He almost had 20 though. So they're like looking like one of those top 4 teams that we're talking about. Someone has to take that spot of Triple S, like gap that's filled left. So that's looking to be Sabres, Beria, these guys. That's going to
be the game of season.
That's going to be the game.
Sabres, Beria, Ballers going to be the one to pencil in and
because both of them are from the C2. So.
And I think there's a lot of bad taste in both teams' mouths after the C2 games.
I think Sabres ke zyada hai, and I have to heard it from them that they want pay them back.
So
C2 se aaye to दोनों का उधर से चलती हुई आ रही rivalry. So it's going to be nice. I think Hustlers. I don't know, इनका वही turnover issue चल रहा है. This chemistry problems are new pieces and they haven't really figured it out. Hopefully they get that time to do it, but the players that are coming from Hyderabad उनके पास आ रहे हैं.
They're good, man. We played Hustlers, I think first game of the season, and they had energy, and you could tell like it was just like mesh नहीं था. Silip couldn't bring the ball up. We put a lot of pressure on Buggy and Silip up front, and you could see the Hyderabadi guys getting a little upset about the fact that they couldn't get the ball in. So I think it's a little bit on the guards. Buggy's he's young, super young, but he's a veteran, dude. He's played a lot. He's played a lot of basketball. He needs to take a little bit more onus, take a little more leadership in this team.
He asked me before the game. He said कि मैं क्या करूँ? And I had just told him कि जो मैं commentary में बताता हूँ, जो मैं हर जगह ये बता रहा हूँ, Hustlers का एक ही वो है कि just control your turnovers. Like even I have a lot of turnovers, लेकिन इनके as a team बहुत turnovers होते हैं.
No, I agree. We don't like the only reason that scoreline was that way is because I think Shahzain had 12 steals.
Yeah, Timmy had 6 steals. So
I had 4 steals. So we had like 24, 25 steals.
तो ये इतने turnover हो गए.
That's 50 points.
ऐसी है. So just control your turnovers and just hope for the best. आप shooting like don't drive into unnecessarily. आप open shots लें, just move the ball, अच्छी passing, don't force the passes जो baseline passes हैं और सब कुछ, and they'll do fine I think. तो they're holding on there. अभी मुश्किल ही लग रहा है इनका. They'll probably get relegated. अभी too soon to tell, but still.
They're in that weird position where they're not good enough yet for C1, but you know they're going to go into C2 and dominate. So like even I think before the season started, we were moving some teams around due to like certain issues, and we couldn't figure it out with them because we knew if they went down to C2, they'd be coming right back. We understand at C1, but they're going to get a couple of games against like lower seeded.
And hopefully they draft some new players from the from the losing teams. So every season is a new shuffle for new teams. So उसमें क्या पता उनको कुछ मिल जाए and they figure it out.
Yeah, I agree.
So the last game of the week was Bounce versus 2-3SB, Arham's game.
My ex-team.
Arhum wasn't playing because he's Omega ka signing ho chuki hai, so Arhum didn't come for that game. But that was no problem for 2-3SB apparently. A lot of people, pundits going in, I included, wanted a tough, close, hard-fought battle, 1 point, 2 point, maybe going overtime. But like upset maybe, लेकिन नहीं हुआ कुछ इस तरह का. Bounce started off strong. But 2-3SB, on the back of Timmy, who had not found that groove that we know that Timmy hits, started off really hard. पहला shot ही उसका step back 3 था, going to the left, और जिस तरह वो flow में अंदर गया, मैंने कहा ये तो बहुत ही खतरनाक. I was on commentary, I knew कि बहुत ही bad night जाने वाली है. After that he had 2 more threes, then he had a few floaters, jumpers. He barely missed. I think he missed 1 shot the whole second half. And he had, I think, 12 or 16 points. उसके बाद उसने he just stopped scoring. He just started assisting. And Mishaf आने लग गया. And then there was Zafar भाई कट रहे थे. Shahzain hit a few threes. So मतलब it was all around team effort. And you could see कि 2-3SB was looking like a well-oiled machine. Everybody was getting minutes, rotation solid थी. Every 2 minutes Zaid भाई सब call करते, 2 बंदे आ रहे थे, उनको पता था उन्हें किधर हिलना है, किधर जाना है, क्या play है. Then they ran one play जो मैंने Zaid भाई again मैंने note कर लिया आपका play corner 3 वाला, Shaf वाला. Note हो गया. That was a very good play. उसमें Shaf ने 2 3 मारे, फिर hit 2 3s in the fourth. एक साथ line से 3 3s he hit from the top.
I think that phase from where Zaid hit that bank shot to end the third quarter to like the first 4 minutes where we hit another 5 threes was just diabolic.
बस उधर
like it was like a game को फजूल में वहाँ तक ले गई.
बस उधर
इस तरह जो मतलब and it just seemed like it was like pre-written, like you know when that shot went up, those 4 or 5 shots in a row from Shaf and from Temur, from Z, from Zaid, that they were going in. And they were back breaking, and you could see on the court that it was back breaking.
Bounce did not have an answer. They did not know what to do. They were confused. Pehle they were playing man, then they switched to zone. They tried a lot of different strategies. I think too quickly they tried to switch it up. You guys 2-3SB did not look troubled at all. मतलब उनको they weren't phased at all. They were man, maybe they were comfortable, zone maybe they were comfortable, 3-2 खेला उसमें भी comfortable थे, 2-3 में भी. So there were some execution problems I believe from bounce defense, and they also got out rebounded very hard by you guys. But 2-3SB out rebounded. हालांकि Mohsin, Daniel, these guys are the tallest players and good rebounders in their right. They got out rebounded very hard. I think when Bounce goes back to watch that game, then they had a little infighting भी थोड़ी सी हो, you know like seeing that उनकी थोड़ी सी आपस में नहीं उस वक्त हुई. उसके बाद से they completely crumbled. So going into, I think the game was कि Zargam आया where they have good pieces now. They have a good point guard. They have Shami shooting threes. So they'll be really good.
And I think let's not give this one game that much credence. Like they took a beating. Sure, the scoreline wasn't positive. But they're a very good team and they're going to be tough to beat. Even if we play them again, it's not going to be like it's going to be a 30-point game. It's going to be a different game, different day. This is probably the best team that Mohsin has built around him.
Agreed. That's what
maybe they have some issues with regards to like what everyone's roles are and how they want to execute that, and maybe figuring out how they can increase the strength of their bench. Maybe move one of the guards to the second unit to let them, move and get Mohsin some breaks, get Danny some breaks, get Anas Usman a little more time, and get Zargam a few minutes. Rest is important, and you can speak about getting out rebounded, but if a guy's playing 40 minutes and isn't conditioned like a professional athlete, he's not going to be able to constantly out rebound a guy that's coming in for 5 minutes, going absolutely all out, then subbing in.
Like Zia Abu Musa.
And Zia Abu Musa is an absolute dog, right? Like we were joking before the camera rolled about Zia Abu Musa's shots, but like he is one of the most, I would say, he has such an effect on the way we play defense and the way we win games and the way we rebound on the back line, that just looking at his stat line is very, I don't think it does him justice. And speaking of stat lines, I think we need to clearly tell everyone Timmy's stat line. I think 16 points, 12 rebounds, 12 assists, 6 steals with like 2 turnovers, 3 threes. Can go down as one of the best league of basketball games of all time.
A triple-double with 6 steals.
Accounted for 50 out of 90 points.
Insane.
Like that's ridiculous.
That's insane.
And then we're talking about Shaf hitting 3 threes, Like it was such an evenly balanced team, and I don't want to be biased because I am from 2-3SB, but like you watch these guys play, and it's not just about the talent is there, and we're definitely more talented than we've ever been with Fares, Shaf, Timmy, Salu.
Fares की तो बात ही नहीं,
right? Fares की बात ही नहीं.
Fares की बात ही नहीं, उसके इतना impact है. इतने cut Fares के थे.
But everyone is, the biggest thing about 2-3SB is, I'll talk about all the other teams, you have to sacrifice your ego. At the door, you have to be like, bhai, doesn't matter, मैं season 4 का MVP था, अगर Zaid को मुझे minutes नहीं देने, minutes नहीं देगा, सही है? Like there's nothing I can do about it. My ego is checked at the door, and it starts with Zaid, it starts with Shahzain. Those guys are the de facto leaders in our team, and they check their ego at the door every single time we go to play. So then there's no choo-chara like कि भाई मुझे minutes दो, भाई मुझे बस तुम लोग के साथ खेलना है, मुझे जीतना है. उसमें आज आपके 30 मिनट हुए या 20 मिनट हुए, and firstly, and then secondly, and I think Omega does a really good job of that, right? No one's complaining about minutes or time. They're complaining about winning. We win, Allah, right? Baat hi nahi karni. If we don't win, let's talk about why we didn't win. figure out everyone's roles, execute those roles, and if come what may, right? Like we talk about that every time. Like come what may, you can't control that. What you can control is what's in your hand. It's execution, it's planning, and it's strategy. If you plan, you strategize, and you execute what you can, maybe the other team is just better than you. Right? And that happens. So I wouldn't be too down on Bounce. I still think they're one of the best teams in the league, and I think they're going to bounce back really hard.
Pun intended.
No pun intended, actually. Next week, and they're going to be there in the semis or the quarters.
I think they'll take a hard look on themselves, and Mohsin will have to, थोड़ा सा rile them back and के आप थोड़ा सा gel them as a unit. I think Mohsin is थोड़ा सा docile. He doesn't like confrontation and stuff, but he'll have to step up as a leader and bring that team back. I think Mohsin was playing phenomenal basketball.
Yeah, he was.
He was playing very serious.
He looked like he wanted to win. And there's a lot of times when we talk about Mohsin, his biggest enemy is usually himself. Right? Okay, sometimes he'll take it too easy. Or
then he wanted to win.
He wanted to win, and he was making it really tough. He had Umar in foul trouble. He had Sallu in foul trouble. He had 2-1. Like उसने अकेले हमारे सारे जो backline है 5 या 6 foul करा दिए थे. उसके बाद they went away from that, right? तो गार्ड्स की भी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है कि अगर मोहसिन ट्रेल कर रहा है 1 सेकंड वेट करो, वेट एट द हाफ कोर्ट लाइन, आपको उसी वक्त ऑफेंस इनिशिएट करने की जरूरत नहीं है. इफ द बिग गाय who's scoring all your points needs 4 or 5 seconds to breathe when he's playing defense on that side, scoring on offense, give him 4 or 5 seconds.
Exactly.
You still have 18-17 seconds.
I think the other मसला इनके साथ बाउंस के साथ was कि आप लोगों ने you leaked a lot of points. आपने fast break, Timmy ran fast breaks, Shaf ran fast breaks, बहुत ज़्यादा, and वही मसला इनके the bigs weren't coming back because they ran Dani, Mohsin and Zagam. They weren't coming back. सिर्फ शामी वापस आया था. They were missing Shabu. They didn't play Momin much. So they don't have young fresh legs who can run back and stop fast breaks.
I mean, if we're talking about young fresh legs, who's the last man back every time for 2-3 SB? He's the oldest guy in the league.
Zaid Bhai is the first guy back.
As in, he's the first line of defense on every fast break.
You're right.
And I'm 32 going on 33 when there's a fast break happening.
That is true.
It's not about like wo thakan age. It's about, do you want to stop them or do you want to try to outscore them?
You're right.
If your goal is to outscore them, then you better score 60% of your basket.
That is championship mentality.
And if you aren't, then any guy who's there needs to run back like his life depends on it. Then you take a break on offense. You do not take a break on defense. Because when you take a break on defense, you are breaking your team's back. And we know that, and we hold each other so accountable for it. If we see someone relaxing on offense, he'll maybe get a shout, okay, what are you doing? But if he takes a defensive play off, he's off. And that's a rule, because you don't want to break your own team's back. The best you can do is कि चाहिए भाई यहाँ पे net off कर दिया, वहाँ पे 4-on-5 offense करके be a distraction on the side. And I think that's an issue that Bounce has had season after season, where they can either I think then their positioning on offense also becomes weak, where a lot of these guys are too deep into the paint, so that way when the ball comes out then कोई बचा नहीं होता. तो वो भी एक strategy होती है, वो भी discussion होती है कि भाई मैं onus ले रहा हूँ, भाई तुम लोग करो score, मैं league पे खड़ा हूँ, score your points. So they're a great team. I know it sounds facetious saying it after winning by 31 points, but let's
hope they figure this out.
We want them to figure it out. We want Mohsin to be up there in the semis, in the quarters, in the finals.
And he will be. Let's hope he digs this one out then. That's all we have for you today. Tune in this week. It's going to be an exciting set of games. Hyper games हैं सारे.
Wild weekend.
हाँ, अच्छी games हैं. Cancel all your plans. शादियों वादियों पे जाना है, miss कराएं, बोले मैं busy हूँ, lob पे आएं. Atmosphere देखें, insane week होने वाला है. Thank you for tuning in. See you guys next time. Allah Hafiz.
See you guys.
For once, he doesn't need it.
The cake is so good.
You know what to say, man?
Autofocus ने आपके ball spot में वो face समझ लिया.
Shit.
यहाँ पे एक वो smiley face बना देना ना as the intro. मेरा बस मुंह चल रहा है ऊपर से.